Let's do some awards. Gablett Areas, best on ground of the week. Who was it? I've got two. Mitch Lewis, who was absolutely massive for the Hawks, set the tone early, was basically unstoppable between he and Gunston early, and really sort of just wrested the game away from the Dogs, and they had no answer. I mean, he didn't do a giant amount, basically the back half of the game. His work was done. The other one was Heen-Man. Heen-Man. Isaac Heaney was massive in that game for the Suns, and we have this discussion around this sort of time each year as well. It's like, wait a minute, who's the best player? Who's the best player at footy? And every so often you'll see Isaac Heaney just play a game and you're like, I think it might be Isaac Heaney. Yeah, he just reminds you every so often that he might be the best at footy. Especially with Nick Dacos, still dealing with a corky, but
he was still, even in an ordinary game, he was still pretty good, Nick.
What did He-Man have? Yeah, Heaney had 33 and 2 goals and was just absolutely massive.
He was unreal. And I think going on, there was not last year, the year before, when he was the favourite for the Brownlow but got suspended. I don't think he ended up polling that many votes, but he's always seemed to be just thereabouts, but either an injury or suspension or a run of 3 or 4 games where he's not bad, but not, outstanding as he can be. I think maybe this is the year. He's obviously missed one from injury, but if he can have a pretty good run and the way they're playing at the moment, he's been a big part of it. So maybe a best bet coming up.
Yep, he's awesome. Tracy gets an honourable mention as well for that mark against the Pies in the pouring rain. Jamie Billy Elliott set to soar, take an absolute game-winning mark, going back, kicking up. Tracy goes, no, that's mine. Clunks it. Absolute Leo Barry, you star. Sort of
Josh Tracy.
It's Josh Tracy. Just dropping back, goes whack. That was awesome. So huge moment from the weekend. Who have you got there, Jez, for your Gablett Areas?
Oh, it's pretty hard for me to... Archie Roberts. 42 disposals and a goal for the Bombers. He was everywhere. He had 37 the week before against the Dogs and was pretty good. But, Archie was on fire. And to be honest, I could sit here and go through all of the Bombers players and give them all a mention. And if we had time, I probably would. And I could probably do another episode where I just rate them all. But I was really happy with a lot of them. But, Archie Roberts, can't go past Archie Roberts for my beloved Bombers.
I don't mind this as the Footy Unfilterated spin-off where it's just Jez Unfilterated and it's just you going through every single Bomber player and rating their performance.
If we win against Gold Coast, I might do it. I might be very drunk.
What are they doing every time Jez watches the Bombers? Oh,
I had an excitement quiver. I get very excited about things. I do that.
He does that.
I was doing that a lot, watching the replay.
Who are we buying a beer this week? Ben Ainsworth, just because he got absolutely deleted, put in the dirt by Jordan Dawson, who then kicked the goal. The rest of the game from that point onwards was over because Ainsworth got killed. So, I think I'm going to go buy him a beer. That was it was a rough one.
Something a little bit stronger.
You hate it when it happens to your team as well because you're just like, oh no. It's like you're watching the kid fall off the bike or something. You're like,
Try not to laugh audibly.
Yeah. It's tough. Yeah. Ainsworth looked awesome early as well. He kicked 2 goals. You're like, yes, that's the way to use a small... Oh, no, they've changed it all and Voss is now sat grips. Fantastic work. Anyway, who are you buying a beer there, Jess?
Well, aside from Brad Scott, I'm going to buy a beer for, and I'm sure he probably already had one, for a bloke named Clint Rule. So I'm not sure if you saw this, but there was a fella who went to the... and my dog, he agrees with me here. But there was a fella who went to the Essendon and Melbourne match at Adelaide Oval and he decided he'd have a bit of fun and he made a banner. And I'm just going to bring this banner up. So the banner says, I don't particularly like either side, which I think is hilarious.
Yep.
Now, he was told by security, a.k.a. the Fun Police, that he was to take the banner down and pop it in the cloakroom. So instead of doing so, Clint decided he'd leave in protest. He'd made a Facebook post about it earlier in the day, and Peter Malinowskis, who's another fella I would happily buy a beer for, but I'm sure he's got plenty of people doing that. Premier Peter Malinowskis, the man who came up with this gather round, if you ask him, he found out about it and basically got him into a later game and had him as a guest. And I think on the later game, you'll see him in the footage with Andrew Dillon and the rest of the AFL bigwigs. And yeah, he had 2 tickets to the President's Lounge. So ended up having a really good day out of it, all because the Fun Police decided to poke their heads in and try to cancel everyone. So, but I just think that is so funny. And I reckon everyone there, and he did, I listened to an interview with him earlier, and everyone around him said that it was, great. And that's exactly what I would do if I was going to a game that I didn't support either team. That's my attitude, is I don't actually like either team. I just want to see both fans cry. And the fact that he put it on a banner was just brilliant. There's no harm in it. Why are we trying to kill fun wherever we can?
I think that's the sort of thing with banners. Like because I feel like he was standing sort of in front of the members bit. He was on the hill at one point as well, right? And so, like, you're on the hill. Like, the banner, like, you're not sitting in your seats. It's not in your face the entire time. Just sometimes common sense just needs to prevail and go, that's fine. Like,
the
whatever.
photo I saw, there was no one behind him either. So it wouldn't have been from complaints. It would have just been someone going, no, I don't like the look of that. So get him out. So.
Yeah. I'll pay that.
Beer
I love
me.
He then got, he was, supping
wined
on
and
something.
dined.
He was absolutely wined and dined with the AFL bigwig, so I don't think he needs a beer from us, but that was awesome. The Ben Mackay Spud of the Week award goes to this week's Ben Mackay, which is Lewis Young.
Ouch.
I think at one point I tweeted out, many people would ask, what does Lewis Young do? And they'd be right.
Have you got an answer?
There is no answer. Like, that's why they'd be right, just to ask, what does he do? He usually gives away free kicks and, I don't know, has a shocker. No Jacob Wiedering obviously killed the Blues, and just Lewis Young got absolutely smash-marated. But my favourite Spud of the Week is another former Blue, Charlie. I miss screaming Charlie. I loved him. But watching him go 0 for 4 as a Swan at Norwood and just miss the easiest goal, I think, maybe this year, unless you got a direct in front shot. He's like 8 meters out on a slight angle, goes around the corner and balloons it into someone's backyard in Norwood. It's one of the most egregious misses you'll ever see. And I don't know, bit Spud-worthy. Honourable mention, Michael Voss. Cripps coming out and go, yeah, look, I might sit on the pine at the start of the second quarter of this week. It's like, don't encourage him, Cripps. You're not, as a parent, and Cripps is now a parent, I think we all learn, right? You don't encourage bad behaviour. You try to, steer them away from it. Don't encourage him, Cripps. He'll just do it again. It's like the squid taking off his nappy and slinging it around his head. Don't do that, you idiot. You're going to get just crap everywhere. No. Get your hands out of your nappy right now. That sort of vibe. Voss, get your hands out your nappy. Anyway, who have you got for the Ben Mackay Spud of the Week award there, Jez?
Oh, I've got a couple of, maybe we'll say honourable mentions. There was a young fella, Jonty Fall, in his second year, and maybe he's a bit too young, but he did only have 2 possessions in 75% of game time. I'll give him a pass because he is being, he's being asked to do quite a bit in that forward line with not much else to work with. So we'll give him a pass, but you'd like to see a little bit more than 2 possessions, even though they did get smashed in 75% of game time. But so a dishonourable mention there. These other two that I've listed, I can't really split them. Your mate TDK, for a bloke on so much money to get beaten up basically by Jordan Sweet. Him and Rowan Marshall were both taken to task by Jordan Sweet, who I think he had about 40 hitouts to maybe 15 each for Marshall and TDK, and TDK had 9 disposals. So I know they had a win, but I don't know. If I was a Saints fan, I'd be wanting to see a lot more out of TDK. So he's number 1, and I couldn't split him from Paddy Voss. So he, for a bloke who likes to prance around like he's the second coming of Wayne Carey, I think he needs to probably worry about his own game a little bit more than he worries about some others. There was a report actually, and I saw this after I listed him, that came out about the antics that we've seen from him this year in a few games, especially the Melbourne game where he was carrying on like a pork chop. Might have been the reason why Essendon let him go. So it's easy to say that now, but at the same time, we probably don't need any more distractions around Essendon at the moment. So maybe there might be a little bit more sort of truth to that rumour than you would have thought. But yeah, for me, him and TDK, they can be the Ben Mackay Spuds for this week.
Yeah, the TDK Rowan Marshall thing, it's very, very reminiscent of TDK and our man Pitto, where it's the built-in redundancy of the two bigs just never seemed to work properly. And like TDK by himself always felt like much more of a weapon. His speed around the ground was huge. And I mean, you could send him forward at some points, whatever. It never quite worked as well. And you're sort of seeing that now, I reckon, in St Kilda. And it was always going to be the way, right? Like Rowan Marshall always felt superfluous to needs after they got TDK.
I think TDK is very much obviously a modernised version in that he likes to do the whole lot himself, sort of like Todd Goldstein. I remember North would try and have a second ruck, and I think they had Braden Pruce, and there's a couple of others that come through. But whenever they went with that, Todd Goldstein's his effect on the game would drop away, and then as soon as he was left out there on his own, he would dominate.
It's Gorn and Grundy, right? Same thing.
Yeah, well, exactly right. Yeah, so they both like to be the man and the number one man with maybe a pinch hitter to help them out. So, and maybe that's look, you don't wish injury upon anyone, but maybe an injury to one or the other might help them in that department. But I think at the end of the season, we might see a trade involving Rowan Marshall.
Rowan Marshall, you are a Geelong cat.
Here's a farm.
Here's a farm. Here's a cotton on. Here you go. You like hoodies? Let's go. Better than Bootsma. For me this week, Cooper Trembath took maybe the mark of the year.
What a hanger.
He was awesome. That dude is electric. I love watching him, especially in those jerseys. You're like, yes, mate. Just sign me up. This is awesome. And Job Shanahan, FYI. Again, he popped up a couple of weeks ago for the Eagles. Kicked 4 in this game. Yeah. I like the way he goes about it. But there's a couple of like dudes on that Eagles team that I really enjoy watching as you watch them get their heads kicked in. But you watch Dersma, you watch whoa, Harley Reid, bam, bam. You watch Job Shanahan. I obviously love the J Train, Jakey Waterman, but Job Shanahan, just saying, better than Bootsma. Yep. Who have you got, Jez?
Another bomber, surprise, surprise. But Elijah Sardis. So he's much maligned. He's a pick 5 from a few years ago. Spent a lot of time in the Magoos. The biggest knock on him, and it's still there, is his disposal. And I know there was a couple of moments on Saturday where his disposal wasn't up to scratch. But the thing is, he gets the footy, and from all reports, he's been working his butt off to try and correct it. So, which I like. And I think at this point, like he had 29 and a goal. I think they just got to stick with him, and he gets the footy. He's worked on all the other aspects of his game. His kicking still average when under pressure, but at the same time, it's not as if we're setting the world on fire with our disposal as a team anyway. So they might as well stick with him and see where he can go. And at the very least, if he's one of those players that averages 25 to 30 a game with a disposal efficiency of 60, say for example, he's at least showing his worth, so we can maybe move him on and get something for him. But I really like the way he goes about it anyway. I've been really disappointed that he hasn't had more of an opportunity. So I was really glad to see him out there and having an impact. He actually played a good part in the win. So I was happy to see that. And to be honest, the better than Bootsma, Archie Roberts is only 20 years old.
He's awesome.
How good is it? Like, I'm excited. I'm excited. Get that quiver going. Kako, Caddy.
I had an excitement quiver.
There we go. Farrow, Kako, Sardis, off you go.
It's looking good.
Right. I'm sober and crazy and I don't know what I'll do.
That's right. I'm sober and crazy and I don't know what I might do.
Yeah, nah, so let's do it. Can we shut up about moving, adding, doing different gather rounds now? And also the sheer ridiculousness of people go, oh, gather round's not even for the people now. What are you talking about?
Shut up.
Hotels are expensive. Yeah, no, that's called price gouging. The AFL didn't do that. That's on the hotels. It's the airlines. Yes, the airline partner of the AFL should actually cap prices, I think, to Adelaide for gather round. They should have that worked out. But my God, this is like saying, oh, you know what? F1 used to be for the people, and then you go to the Australian Grand Prix, and there's just heaps of people, and it's really expensive. You know what's really expensive? Going to the grand final. Jeez, I'll tell you what's getting expensive. Going to see a basketball game in the finals. Yeah. Popular things, guess what? They're expensive.
They're expensive. You know what else is getting expensive? Diesel.
That's it. So you probably have a slight less, the drop in numbers probably maybe this year. They're saying that they have the most crowds they've ever had to gather around, which is pretty funny considering that every game sells out. And it's like, but that's the most or whatever.
Yeah.
But again, with petrol prices the way they are, the sort of idea of convoying over there is not as fun as it is. But
I think they were giving away free diesel at some point or free fuel somewhere. I heard something about it. It was at one of the country towns along the way. It might have even been at the border. They were giving away X amount of free fuel as a bit of which is awesome. Good on them. Why not?
But this is it. I think even Ralphie's jumped in with something stupid today. You've got other people out there going, gosh,
really?
is it just really corporated now? It's like, yeah, everything to do with the AFL is corporatized.
It's a business.
Gather round is just the thing is when you're criticizing from afar, all you're seeing quite literally is the stuff that Fox Footy is showing you, the Channel 7 showing you, and guess what they've got? Sponsors to pay for their broadcasts.
Correct.
That's how that works. If you actually go there, the vibe is amazing. Everybody is there for one thing.
Footy.
And it rocks. And so for people who haven't been there, who aren't there, it's like, you know what? It's just for people who are rich now. It's like, no, the people who are there love footy. It's awesome. You don't go to South Australia because you know what? Oh, I just want to go to South Australia. No one has really just gone, no, it's going to be awesome if we just went to South Australia. Just go to Adelaide. There's lots going on there. That's why Gather Round works. Adelaide has nothing else going on to stop you or get in your way of enjoying the footy. It's all ancillary and it's all additive because it's there's some good pubs, there's some good food, there's wineries. But you know what? There isn't
all close together.
And there's no plethora of other stuff going on that I should do instead of going to watch the footy. Shut up, idiots. Gather round is awesome. My Lord, can we just stop? This is a part of the AFL media industrial complex of whinging. You can't have a good thing without whinging about it. And we found a way to whinge about gather round. Can we just quit it with the whinging? And Finn. All right. No one's beating the Swans the rest of the year, Jez. Yeah, nah.
Yeah. I can't see many people getting the way they're going. Whew. Maybe the Hawks if they play the Hawks again.
They've lost to the Hawks, and apart from that, they've beaten the Lions. They smashed the Blues after that sort of first half. It was a bit of a scare. They absolutely obliterated the Eagles. Take care of the Suns. They now play the Giants in a derby this week. They've got the Dogs 2 weeks after that at Marvel, but this is a much lesser version of the Dogs that we've probably been used to the first 4 weeks of the season. They then host the D's. They play against the Roos at Marvel, which is always a danger game for the Swans. They host the Pies at the G. They go to GMHBA May 23 to take on the Cats. That could be awesome. I still think they could win. Then they've got Richmond at home. They've got St Kilda at home. They go to Port Adelaide. They go to Brisbane. They host the Dogs. They go to Freo. They host the Crom. Another derby. Saints in Marvel. Host Port. Visit Essendon. and then host the North Melbourne Kangaroos. There's one or two that feel a bit squirrely, but the Swans are that good, they're not losing any of them. Calling it, boom. One loss for the season.
I'm going to say nah, because clearly they're going to lose to Essendon. But
is Cosy a Brownlow chance yet, Jez? What do you reckon? Yeah, nah.
Ooh. I'm going to say yeah. Although I think he probably, as good as he probably wouldn't have got the max votes on the weekend, because I think there was probably 3 Bombers ahead of him. But I think if Melbourne, it's going to depend on how Melbourne finish. I think if they can win maybe 10 games, he's a chance, because he'll get a lot of 2 votes in the ones that they lose. But if they have the slide and end up sort of near where we kind of predicted them to and only win, say, 6, 7, maybe 8 games, I think he might struggle. But he's definitely going to be talked about. So I would say, yeah, just.
Yeah, he's on like the, I don't know, 3rd or 4th, 5th tier of the sort of favourites at the moment. But I feel like he's in the trajectory is correct. It's like a slow start because of, I don't know, he's not been playing in the guts the entire time. Now they're just like, nah, screw it. We'll just get him on the ball. And it's been awesome. I think the one that I do love, though, at the moment is probably Bailey Smith, right? Like with the simple idea of, I don't know, like he and Max Holmes are probably going to be splitting a lot of 2 and 3s, I think, for the Cats this year. But sometimes I think he stands out a little bit more than Max Holmes. Max Holmes is not a, I don't know, standout kind of guy.
Plus, they have the stats. So this is a thing that's going to have a big impact on the voting this year, is that they're going to notice Bailey Smith, as you say, because he's more noticeable.
And he's got a headband.
And then they're going to go, and he's got a headband, and they're going to go to the stats and go, but Bailey had 40, Max might have had 34 and had more, might have done all the tackling and all the stuff that Max Holmes does. But because Bailey Smith has a headband and had more disposals, they're going to go, we noticed him. He definitely best on ground.
Yep. I like that.
And that's going to have an impact all the way through every game.
Yep. All right, you've got a nah there as well.
I've got a couple, actually. I've got one here, and then I've got a listener one that I forgot to mention earlier.
Awesome.
But so the reviews of the Lasso rule, which is a ridiculous name, are having a negative impact on the game. Yeah, nah.
It's meant to speed it up. And in that case, I'm sort of saying, nah, it's not having an impact on the game. But I don't know that it's speeding it up, because it's creating more confusion. And I think there's this sort of, I think the way it's probably intended to work, right, is that if it gets near the boundary line, in the same way you would in basketball, you're trying to keep the ball in bounds. But because it's kind of not last touch, but it's getting to almost last touch, it's meant to be last disposal.
Correct. So my thing is the reviews, not the actual rule. I like the rule, and I witnessed it firsthand in local footy, and it worked really well for local footy on the weekend. But the actual reviewing of it at AFL level, which only seems to have come in since the Geelong and Adelaide game, and it was prevalent over the weekend, especially in the Adelaide. It seems to be an Adelaide game thing. But in the Adelaide Carlton game, it had a massive impact. Now, they've brought this rule in to speed it up. And to be honest, before the reviews came in, I didn't really notice it. And it probably did help the game move. But since they've decided to review it every time it goes near there, and they're allowing players to ask for reviews now, which is absolutely ludicrous, it is having a negative impact in that it's slowing the game down more so than it did before we even had the friggin' rule.
Yeah, I think reviews, I don't think we need them. Like, it's really simple. I think what we've seen with basketball is that reviews slow everything back down. So that's the adverse effect to the ideal effect. And that's where you're going to run into the problems of slowing it back down, because there's the sheer problem of getting everything perfect rather than getting it good. And you don't need to be perfect, I think, in this sort of instance, because, you get into the argument of like, all right, well, if they're going to handball it off someone's shin and then review that, why aren't we reviewing a blatant throw directly in front of goal? Like, and then it becomes an either or. It's just stupid. So I think just get rid of the review and just go keep the rule. It's fine. But it's onto the umpires. Simple as that. What was the other one?
Okay, so we've got a listener from David Klitsch, who's a Suns fan, and he's been pretty vocal on the comments, which is awesome. Thanks for the support, Dave. So he's actually done 2 here. So he sent this one at about 7 o'clock on Saturday night, and I'm going to out him here, but 5 games is sufficient evidence to start forecasting teams' performance for the year. I've been a Suns fan since day one, but based on the first 5 games, Gold Coast not only won't play finals, but won't even play the wildcard weekend.
Oh,
yeah,
no.
Now, this message came through on the Sunday night. And sorry, Dave, you're going to hate me for this, but this is how we roll here at Footy Unfilterated. Apologies, lads. This is what happens when you drink and message while inebriated, annoyed at footy, and dealing with kids simultaneously. Don't worry, we've both been there. So we got you back there. Real question should be, have we overreacted to the Suns' early games, and are they really a 7 to 10 wildcard range team? Yeah, nah.
No, I don't think we've overreacted. 3-2, I get it. I think, but there's sort of weird extenuating circumstances for the Gold Coast where not having their full list, I think, the last few weeks, it's like losing Petrarca, obviously, is a real kick in the guts. But I think they get him back this week, presumably. And then you sort of, I think their baseline will be just winning all their home games. And they probably, they've already beaten the Cats. They've already beaten the Eagles. They smash Richmond down here. They lose at the G against Melbourne, right? That happens. You're down again. Below the 27th parallel. What happens? You're the Suns.
Yeah.
You go to Adelaide, you lose to Sydney. Again, below the 27th parallel. It happens. The big one will be the Hawthorn game they play in Tassie in a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
Like that's the yardstick. If they're good, if they're right there with them. Losing Noah Anderson really, really, really sucks because suddenly you don't have stupid, sexy Flanders there. There's like an extra sort of like mid backup. But you do get Petrarca back, so you've still got Rao, Miller, and Petrarca, so you should be all right. But then there's like a big run of home games where they've got GWS, St Kilda, Port. They play North down here. Might go to that. Oh, wait, no, I'm overseas for that one. Anyway. Suns, Lions, huge Q clash, start of June. I don't think we've overrated them. I think they're extremely, extremely good when they get to play at home in games on their terms. That's going to be the tricky part. The Melbourne one was really tough. Sydney was really tough. You expect that little bit more of an improvement in some of these away games. Like the Melbourne game was disappointing, but it happens, right? Yeah. So I think they're still, top 6 team.
Yeah, it's a nah for me. I agree. I tend to think they'll finish in that top 6. Yep. I think the top 6 is going to be a very much a sliding scale for the whole season, bar maybe the Hawks at the top of the ladder. I think for positions 2 to 6, maybe even 7, depending on how things pan out.
Sydney won because they'd never lose again. Then everybody was. So. All right. I love the Suns. I absolutely love the Suns to the point where I still want to go up there and actually go to a game. But I think the way the schedule works, I'm going to really struggle. But anyway.